This content is for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Did you just blow up Sonya?
No.
I mean, I'm not even mad. I'm a little surprised. What did that?
What if events went differently? What if Cole was murdered in the Babysitter? Cole Johnson rested on the grass underneath the foot of his house as he caught his breath. Sonya's death was a horrific fate, but an explosive victory for the adrenaline-fueled 12-year-old. For a moment, Cole was relieved that the danger had passed. However, his blood ran cold as the repeated sounds of slow clapping emerged from the darkness. Max, the muscle-bound, shirtless teen, emerged from the fog with a villainous smirk. Cole stood to his feet, and Max remarked how surprised he was at Sonya's demise, and questioned what killed her. After answering the question, Cole threw a rock at Max's bare chest, then made a run for it. Cole remembered Bee's advice and rolled across the ground just as Max was about to grab him, before they both fell. Cole then got up and kicked Max's crotch. However, Max felt no pain. After a back and forth argument, Max lunged forward and grabbed Cole's throat before lifting him from the ground. Cole gasped and choked for breath, terrified for his life. Max smirked cruelly as he tightened his grip. However, his attention was drawn to a chubby boy wearing a cap with the bill facing backwards, throwing eggs at Cole's house. Max dropped Cole and dragged him over to where the chubby boy was throwing the eggs. Max urged Cole to stand up to the bully, which did not go well at all. And once the bully left after covering Cole in egg yolk, Cole wiped off the slimy, sticky substance with his shirt. Suddenly, Cole felt two large male hands wrap around his neck and tightly squeeze his windpipe. Cole wheezed as he clawed at the firm appendages, then tried to punch and kick at the body of the attacker, and he glanced up and spotted Max, smirking cruelly down at him. Cole pleaded for Max to relent, but the sadistic teen only taunted him. "Come on, Coley, break free," he barked. "Fight back!" Cole tried to kick at Max's leg, but was lifted from the ground. Cole's vision blurred, then went black as Max squeezed tighter until suddenly there was a loud snap. Cole's body was dropped to the ground as Max gasped and glanced down at his hands. He cursed to himself, realizing that they needed Cole alive, and marched back to the house. Bee the babysitter paced back and forth in Cole's living room, muttering to herself, as a bleeding to death Allison made snarky remarks, and John's body rotted in the center. "I don't know why you even want to keep that boy alive," sneered Allison. "We need more than a little blood to complete the ritual." Bee whirled around and approached the bleeding teenager. "I told you," she growled. "I'm not having the blood of an innocent boy on my hands. That's why I tried putting him to sleep in the first place, so he wouldn't feel pain." "Why? He'll only snitch on us," Allison snapped back. "You think the two of you can still be friends after this? He'll never forgive you! Bee instinctively grabbed a gun from one of the dead police officers that had broken into the house while Cole was tied up, and shot at Allison multiple times, then shot Allison in the head, which was blown off. Bee let out a deep breath of anger, and hate filled her eyes, and adrenaline filled her with rage. Suddenly, the front door burst open, and Max's panicked voice startled Bee. "Bee, come quickly!" Max cried. "I messed up, I'm so sorry." "What the hell are you talking about?" demanded Bee. "Where's Cole?" The colour drained from Bee's face, and Max bowed his head, frowning and rubbing his arm nervously. "Max, what did you do?" Bee once again demanded, with concern. Max gulped and stepped aside. Bee's eyes widened as she spotted a small human shape sprawled out on the grass. "Oh my God! Cole!" Bee cried. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry," Max groaned. But Bee ignored him and ran out into the yard. She approached Cole's limp body and kneeled down to his level. "Oh my God, Cole, no!" cried Bee. She scooped Cole's limp form in her arms and sobbed loudly. "Oh God, what have I done?" she murmured. "It's not my fault. It's not my damn fault. I'm sorry, Cole. I'm so sorry. I never meant for things to get this bad." Bee curved to herself and cradled Cole's body close to her chest, rocking his lifeless form, and her body shook. "All I wanted was self-confidence. I promised I'd protect you from all this, and I failed." Bee placed the lifeless form of her only true friend on the damp grass, contemplating her next move. Max slowly approached the babysitter and tried to talk. "Bee, I'm sorry. I know I messed up the ritual, but..." Suddenly, Max was cut off by Bee's agonized cry, which echoed into the night. Bee grabbed the gun from her pocket and shot Max multiple times, screaming out in pained, agonized rage. She dropped the gun and fell to her knees. Bee knew what she had to do, so she gathered the bodies of Max, John, Allison, and Sonia. She piled the bodies in the yard, lit a match, and threw it onto the corpses, setting them ablaze. Bee then scooped Cole's lifeless form in her arms and carried him into the house, where she placed the body onto the sofa. She wrote a note which read, "I'm sorry I couldn't protect your son." She then sat on a chair, pulled the gun from her pocket, and aimed the muzzle toward her mouth, then pulled the trigger. Bee's vision went black, and a single tear trickled down her cheek. Everything was black at first. Then Bee awoke to the smell of ashes and brimstone. Bee surveyed her surroundings and saw that she was surrounded by a ring of fire and was sat in a wooden chair. The sky was a mix of blacks, oranges, and reds. "Am I in hell?" questioned Bee to nobody in particular. Then the sound of a deep, smooth male voice spoke up, which startled Bee. "Well, yes, but it's not your personal hell." Bee glanced in the direction of the voice and saw a tall, handsome man with short dark hair, a white undershirt, and an immaculate black suit jacket with matching trousers. "Who are you?" demanded Bee fearfully. The man chuckled and approached her while drinking something from a glass goblet. "I've gone by many names over the years, but that's not the point. You and your cult friends were way out of your depth. You played with fire you didn't understand, trying to worship a deity like myself, and look what it cost." Bee frowned and glanced down in shame. "I never meant for things to end up the way they did," she admitted. "I was forced into the cult. I made an oath in protection of a former client." "You mean Phoebe?" replied the man. "That wasn't me, but another demonic deity. You see, these cult teens went way out of hand with the devil-worshipping game. Usually I'm all in for a bit of worship, but I draw the line when it comes at the cost of human life. But you're different. I want to give you a second chance." "What could you possibly want with me?" Bee demanded. "Why would you give me another chance after getting a child killed?" The man exhaled and crouched to meet Bee's level. "But you didn't directly harm that boy," he replied. "I witnessed you try and relieve Cole of the pain. I watched you mourn the loss of your only friend. I'm giving you a chance to avenge him. You see, your supposed friends aren't dead. They'll become demons like you. Something big is coming, my dear Beatrice. And the girl you swore to protect is the main target." Color drained from Bee's face. "Phoebe!" she whispered. The man clapped his hands and pointed both index fingers at Bee before shouting, "Bingo! So, are you willing to work for your redemption?" Bee hesitated, but gulped and nodded. "Yes," she replied flatly. "I won't disappoint you." "Perfect!" exclaimed the man. "Of course, you'll need a new look so you don't get arrested on sight. Now, any questions?" "I do have one," replied Bee. "Are you the devil?" "Something like that," replied the man. "But I always thought the devil was too formal. My name is Lucifer, Lucifer Morningstar. But you can call me Lucy for short if you want." Meanwhile, police cars surrounded the Johnson household, and Cole's parents, Archie and Phyllis, were chatting with two cops. A stretcher carrying Cole's corpse and wheeled by two doctors trundled past and into an ambulance. "I just don't understand what could have happened," wailed Mrs. Johnson. "What does the note on Cole's head mean? Why would she let this happen? How could she let this happen?" "Damn it, we trusted her," murmured Mr. Johnson. "If I found out that she caused this—" "That's not important now, Archie," exclaimed Mr. Johnson's wife Phyllis. "We paid Bee to protect our son, and we come back to find that she's gone A cold dead body was left out for us to see. Fingerprints indicate that your son was choked to death, one policeman replied. We scanned them and the results show that the fingerprints belong to a male, 1.25.0 pound muscle. Height is 64.0, as well as 162.5 centimeters. The Johnson parents were devastated, but were horrified after cops found B's corpse and carried it off via gurney. Neither Archie nor Phyllis could understand why or how B could do this. They blamed themselves for their failure to notice any trace of B's shady behavior. After the corpses of the cult teens were disposed of, the Johnsons spent the rest of the night crying over the loss of their son. The funeral for young Cole was massive. Families and friends gathered around the coffin. No one was more upset than Cole's neighbor Melanie, but she seemed more angry than sad, and had left the funeral halfway through. The next day, newspapers reporting the deaths of Cole Johnson and B the babysitter were all the town could talk about. Cole's demise was on the front page. The Johnsons moved away and were never heard from again. That night, B sat alone in her apartment. The night of Cole's death was all that played through her mind. She blamed herself immensely for getting him into that situation in the first place. B glanced down at the palms of her hands. She knew what she had to do. B knew that the cult teens were back. She knew that there would be a massive manhunt for her if the people knew she was alive as a demon. But the blood cult had to pay for what they'd done, and B knew she had to make things right by putting a stop to them. So she dyed her hair black, tied it in a ponytail, and placed on some glasses to disguise herself. B also found a tattered dark grey hoodie and slipped it on, before she then grabbed her gun and set out for vengeance. Lucifer sat in his Lux nightclub with a glass of wine when in came his demon companion Mazikeen, wielding her knives and wearing all black leather. So, looks like you've got yourself a new pet human, I see, she remarked. Lucifer chuckled and placed his glass goblet on the countertop. She's more like a pet project, he replied matter-of-factly. These me-worshippers have taken this charade way too far, and they need to be stopped. Well, it's not often that the devil himself draws a line, replied Mazikeen smugly. Nay, those hormone-driven lunatics murdered a child, cried Lucifer, pinching the bridge of his nose. People forget that I'm the punisher of evil, not the cause. Either way, isn't Blondie locked in that cult? Mazikeen questioned warily. She was involuntarily involved. If she wanted poor Cole dead, she would have killed him already, remarked Lucifer callously. Yeah, but Blondie got him killed. She's not exactly Mother Teresa, Mazikeen retorted. Either way, our blonde baddie has a long journey ahead of her, Lucifer remarked, and she's going to need all the help we can give her.